Okay. Also getting messages from my wife saying she wants to put down our dog, so that's cool. Get back in the frame now.
Is the dog being a bad dog, or is it dying?
Dying. Lay down.
Oh.
Yeah, feet towards me. Yeah, okay, perfect.
Where Rawson belongs, on his back.
William said you belong on your back. Do you have a sister, Will?
I do not have a sister.
Do you have a mother?
I'm sure he does. She belongs right here.
Rawson is pantomiming sex with your mother, in case that wasn't clear.
He would not enjoy that.
You don't know Rawson's a weirdo.
Trust me, he would not enjoy that. He wouldn't enjoy that.
Okay, let's see. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started with the lockpick, just since that covered last time. Face feet this way, Rawson.
And now you're muted. Come here.
Rawson's gonna go ahead here and put me in the lockdown. Sweet. Okay. You guys see the foot all right here? Yes, no, maybe so. This. Okay. So right now my foot is stuck. What I need to do is take my free foot inside. So first I lift his heel. I take my free foot inside, and then I hook his heel here. That lets me open up the lockdown and then bring my foot out. I immediately swing it out and back under his leg. Okay, so that's in this angle. So we're here in the lockdown. I lift, I get this foot right on his heel here, take my foot off. And then I immediately hide this so he doesn't get that foot back. It is important, let's show the third side here. It's important to watch your base while you do this. To get this foot back, you can see I have to bring my left knee close to Rawson here. That does compromise my base a little bit. So he might be able to sweep me this way. I've just got to watch out for that. But I elevate, pick, swing that over, and then back around and widen my base again. Cool. And now, because if I don't swing my foot, if I just unhook it here, he'll put me back in lockdown. So I have to unhook and hide it so that he can't put me in lockdown, so that he has a hard time finding that foot again. Cool. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, Nimble?
Yeah.
That's the main thing that I'll do if someone puts me in lockdown. It happens once in a while in competition, and it's pretty funny. I just unhook it and pass. Like if you're not 10th Planet and has spent like years and years working on the lockdown, you just don't have the nuance of the foot fight. So if we are, here, do it to me, Rawson. If you are going against the 10th Planet guy, and you know he feels you get like head on, and he feels you trying to lock pick, go ahead. No, he'll just move it away from that foot like this. So you end up in like a really nuanced battle with the feet against someone who's really savvy. But 9 times out of 10, just against the non-10th Planet guy, if you just pick up your leg, hook the heel right there, and then hide the leg. You're out of lockdown. Cool. Okay. So,
Amir?
yeah, question.
So that's called the lockpick, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, yeah. So if you're hearing me yell lockpick, that's what I mean. Just watch your base while you do it. Okay, so today I want to focus on the mount, and not like all of the mount. Mount is a big topic, but I want to go over my main attacks from the mount and the basic ways that I keep mount. And there's really only a few tricks that I use on sort of a common basis to keep mount and to attack from mount. Okay, so we've talked a lot about, we've done a lot of transitions into mount, but we've done very few mount attacks. I will say overall, I am not a fan of the mount in no-gi jiu-jitsu. I think it's not as superior of a position as, say, side control. Certainly it's nothing like the back. And the gi, I think it can be very dominant, but no gi, it's not as effective, in my opinion. Okay, so Rawson, just face your head to the camera. A little bit this way. Okay, are we in frame? Okay, you guys can see.
Centered.
Okay, perfect. So this, however I got to mount, however your opponent's attacking you in mount, this is the go-to that I recommend. Okay, temple square. You can also do it with fists. Donna Gonzalez calls this Wonder Woman, like cross your fists. Yeah, like that. This is fine too. However you do it, of course, keep your elbows in. This is the hardest one to deal with, okay? And you want your legs on at least one leg on the mat, one knee up, because that will stop the skydive, which is my go-to mount offense. Okay, so this is my favorite defense. Some people do home alone here. I like that less as a big guy because you can see Rawson's even flexing as hard as he can. His elbows are way up here, okay? So some of you smaller guys can keep your elbows lower. Us bigger guys, I think we have a hard time in the home alone. Also, home alone is purely defensive. So, you know, there's not that much active escaping as opposed to here where we're shrimping and moving on the hip. There are some still fairly common bad ways to defend mount. Some guys will still underhook and grab you here. This is okay. I can see the rationale for this in MMA, where I'm trying to punch him and he wants to pull me to him here, so I can't punch him. Okay, that's the only context this makes sense. Otherwise, this is just setting up our arm locks that we're going to use. So we're going to deal with all of those today. My first move when I come to mount is to drop my hips and send my knees. See, my knees are close in here. I want to send my knees outwards. Okay, that here my weight is on my knees. Further out I go, and eventually my weight's not on my knees. Okay, so I want to drop my hips on them. And this seems silly, but a lot of guys are just hanging out here in mount, sitting up high, no weight on him. This makes it very easy for him to shrimp out, or to buck me, or to merman, you know, whatever, or even to trap and roll. So the first thing, knees out, hips low. Okay. Next, I want to cross my feet underneath his butt. So turn 180. A little bit this way, towards the camera. Okay, good. So I'm here, my knees move outwards. I want to get my feet underneath his legs, cross my feet under his butt. And I'm dorsiflexing my toes here, okay? So now you can see my knees are not really taking a weight. Okay, they might tap the mat, but they're not here taking all the weight. I've got my hips into it. I'm engaging my glutes here, okay? I'm humping Rawson's stomach. Okay, jiu-jitsu is weird. It's just how it is, okay? So we're here. Now I'm lowering my chest. I put all my weight on him. So this is a skydive now. Going sideways, just head that way. I'm mounted here, knees out, feet crossed, chest low, and I'm here. Okay, 'cause in general, a guy's first reaction is to bridge. Okay, and I'm keeping my chest low. I've got my legs locked around his hip so that he can't freak out and dislodge me easily. If I start going for head and arm, and I might, this is a hook for him to trap and roll. Go ahead. So that's a threat, and I usually like to settle a guy down for just a few seconds before I start trapping an underhook this way.
Do you like to underhook the head from this position?
Not until I have a specific reason to.
Okay.
And what I mean is if I'm attacking a triangle or an arm triangle. Those are the main reasons that I grab the head. Otherwise, or if he's bridging like crazy, turn this way, head towards the camera. I want to grab not around the neck, but around
The crown.
the crown, towards the crown of his head, so that it stops his bridge. If I'm on his neck, he can still get his head down and bridge. But if I'm on the crown, especially if I start lifting up, now his bridge is dead. Okay. But in general, this is how I'm controlling from mount. Okay, this is my first move. Chest low, hips into him, feet crossed, hips in. So I'm skydiving here. And these hands are not pushing. I'm just ready to block his bridges. And if he bumps me to one side or another, go ahead, Rawson. Okay, so that's, yeah. Now, so this is the harder part to deal with. Okay, however I get to mount, say I'm in twister side control here, and I'm stepping over to mount. The first thing I do is hips in, feet crossed. Okay, if I'm in knee on belly, and I decide to slide into mount, hips low.
I have a dumb question.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you know you're going for the arm triangle and you're in twister side. The way you slide into mount from twister side, you already have that arm up. Why don't you just start attacking mid go?
Yeah, from here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the problem is I have to get my arm all the way around his head. So as I step into mount, I'm here. Okay.
Yeah.
Now he can trap this and bridge, trap this arm other way. And I have no base on that side.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
That's the main danger.
Fair enough.
The one I will attack from this way. Awesome. The attack I will do from twister side control is the drog. So I get this arm around his head, and now this hand is free. So even if he's bridging this way, bridge this way, Rawson. Other way. Yeah, I've got this post here. So the drog is a good idea. The arm triangle gives him a hook to now bridge me over that way.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Cool?
Yeah.
Okay. And really, I want to get my hips settled and smashing him before I give the underhook, because it's much harder for him to bridge when my weight's all settled on him. Okay. So no matter how I enter mount, that's usually what I'm looking for first. Okay, if he's like, I don't know, coming up with an underhook into me, and I step into mount, skydive. Okay, so if I see you guys up like this, and there are reasons to come up, we'll go over those in a second. If you hear me yell skydive, that means knees out, feet crossed behind his butt, and hands ready to post here. Okay? Questions? We good?
So from the skydive position, is there the potential for the bottom guy to do the more advanced trap and roll where they reach under and lock a gable grip in the crook of the bicep? Or is it too far to reach? It's difficult to tell on video.
So you're saying when he gables over here?
Yeah, because like the trap and roll where you overhook sucks, but if he gables in the crook of the bicep, like about like 7 inches lower,
Yeah.
and then begins to trap and roll that way, is that a threat from Skydive or no?
Yeah, less of a threat because I can drive this out straight. So
Gotcha.
it's a battle here, and this is dangerous for him because now I do have an arm triangle on this side.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, that trap and roll you're talking about, I usually think of it happening from here, where he goes under my bicep and then secures this to my body, right?
Yeah, that's the typical one that I'm talking
Yeah, and now I don't have an arm triangle because his elbow is down. Here,
about. He has to overextend himself so much that he's actually
exactly. So the skydive is a nice, safe position, and this is one of the few times you guys will hear me talk about, maintaining a strong control position. But that is my first priority, and the reason is because the mount is not that great. It's not that secure in no-gi. It's not like some super dominant position. So we may go to it. We may have good attacks from it, but you really do have to settle into it before you can feasibly attack in general, in my opinion.
Yeah, that would make sense.
This is great, guys. Other questions?
I got one. Would it be a good idea to attack with an Ezekiel from that position? And if so, how would you prevent like a sweep during the choke?
Yeah. No, great question. So the Ezekiel is awesome from here. Usually I'm not hitting it successfully on high belts, but it's going to open up our next attacks that we're going to go over here. The way to hit it from here is, again, you want to have a chest high. Like my sternum is over his head here. I'm not too low. So my chest is high. I keep my elbows out as I put the Ezekiel in. So my elbows give me some base here. My elbows are too low. Now I have less base. And you're really committed to the Ezekiel. Here he's going to sweep me for sure. If he's at all, knows what he's doing. Here it's a little bit harder. So what I usually use this Ezekiel for is to get his hands to come up and fight that Ezekiel. And now I'll start attacking, for example, the Gangsta Lean, which we'll go over next in a couple minutes. So yeah, I can actually go ahead and show that Ezekiel. That's not a bad idea. So from the skydive position, someone who's good, they should be, in general, I think, fucking with your hips. Okay, that's what they'll want to do is block their hips, temple square here. So the Ezekiel is in order to get his hands to come up. So I want to just pick, this is a symmetric position. I pick whatever side I want, whatever my strong side is. And I again scoop the crown of the head to help stop the bridging. And now I put my other elbow on the mat and slide this in. So my elbows are high here, and I'll show this from the side, but my elbows are about near the level of the top of his head. And this just gets him, more than anything, to open up. Okay, but I could finish it here just by driving this wrist into his throat and then lifting the head. This way a little bit. Okay. So I'm skydiving here. I pick the side. So my arm is not around his neck, more up on his head. I bring this over, and again, my elbow comes up, and I put that in. Okay, now to finish, I want to lift and hold him sideways. Okay, so I took his head this way as I'm pulling it up this way. And I like to put the blade of my hand just on his artery here. So I scoop the head, put this in. So I bring the elbow high, come over the top. I've got the blade in. I come up and sideways.
Now, are you like fisting the artery, or are you kind of Karate chop. Okay, you don't like the fist?
I'm not an Ezekiel master. The karate chop feels good to me. I'm actually not sure what top guys are doing. You know, go see what, who's the Russian guy in the UFC?
Alexei
Olenek.
Olenek.
Yeah, Olenek. Go see what Olenek is doing. Or who's the Israeli kid who, he did this to Clark Gracie. He's really good too. I can't remember his name offhand.
Dariush?
No. Dariush is Iranian.
Oh,
But there's
that was
a good,
um,
there's a good Israeli grappler. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Dustin Akbar. No, wait, no, that's a different one. That's also.
He's also Persian. Why are you confusing Persians with their mortal enemies, the Israelis?
Okay, the thing is I can't recognize any of the flags. Like I dropped out of school.
He's doing this the most non-racist thing he could say. Y'all look the fucking same.
Yeah, the flags. It's the flag. It's that all of us Middle Easterners look the same. I get it. Anyway,
No,
so
you're
I'm not sure.
bolder than the other ones.
Thanks. So to answer your question, Will, I prefer the blade. I almost never finish this on someone who's a purple belt or above, except Fifi. Is Fifi on? I can talk. I like talking shit to Fifi. So I have hit this on Fifi. In general, it gets their hands to come up, you know, from off of my hips, and that lets me attack the next series of attacks, the stuff that I really want. Cool. So I'm not sure if Alexei Olenek is doing a fist. I know Brandon McCatherine has the punch choke, right? That's with a fist. Those are good options. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you have to karate chop.
Craig Jones likes to do it too.
One more question. Oh, go ahead.
I want to say Craig hit. So Craig Ezekiel'd me, by the way, if you guys weren't there. And I'm pretty sure he hit it with a karate chop hand. So, for what that's worth. Sorry, V, right? That was V?
Yeah. Crap, what was it? Oh, yeah, when you're lifting his head, were you, I guess, crunching into it more, or were you like lifting it with your arms back?
I'm using my back. I'm doing a row on him. So this is fun, guys. I'm happy to use Ezekiel Rawson all day. So we're here. So it's not the same as the guillotine where I'm hunched over it. I am using my back to pull. That was the best one, huh?
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Yep. Okay, cool. Anything else about the Ezekiel? You guys happy? Okay, so you just have to watch your elbow placement so that you don't get swept. Okay, so let's talk about the arm triangle. Head that way. And more generally, trying to attack the wrists. So if I'm in a high mount here, I'm not very stable. He's going to be able to buck me. Okay, so I'm going to get in my skydive here. Okay, now from here, I want to take away his power. So he's on this hip. I want to take away his power by scooping his head this way. Okay, and I'm not leaning into this. I'm scooping it sideways. Sorry, Ross. Scooping it sideways. Okay, that's going to open up. His elbows are in here. As I scoop it this way, that elbow comes out. Okay, so elbow's in. I scoop, that elbow comes out. As you tilt their spine, it's going to open up this elbow. Okay, so that's my first step. Okay, do you guys see the angle I'm making here? My elbow's not on the mat. I'm not lifting like I was in the Ezekiel. This is planted, and I'm pulling up on his head like so, and sideways. Okay, that opens this up. Now, you really want to avoid sliding into his armpit. Okay, this humerus here, that's the lever now. So we want to be at the end of that lever as much as possible. So as I put my underhook in, I walk it outwards. Okay, and then now I can bring it up to his head. So you don't want to be in here fighting in the middle of his bicep. Okay, I'm never going to win this fight against Rawson. Okay, he's not even going very hard here. I've got to bend his head, take away his power, and walk it out. Okay? So again, we're here. He's in a good temple square position. I'm skydiving. Bend his head. Walk this out. Okay? I'm using the inchworm. So think of this like a ratchet, or if you're from the South, a come along. So I pull with my fingers, and now this is a post here that he can't pull back on. I pull, and it's a post. Pull, post, pull, post. Okay, inchworm, or what was the Addams Family character?
Cousin Ed.
No, Cousin It's the hairy one.
Yeah, the thing.
It's the thing, right? So I'm like creepy crawling along the mat here. And that way, when he's pulling back, he's meeting my palm resistance, and then I slide it up. Okay. So again, we're here, skydive, break his posture, hook at the elbow, walk it out. And now my forearm is right at his elbow, right on the radial or humeral styloid process. Really miss having stand. And then I creep this up. Okay. Sorry, I got lazy there and put my elbow down. I want to keep my elbow up for most of this. Okay, until I get to here, and then I cup his head, and I cup his tricep or even down in his armpit. I like the tricep. So this is the chopping block right here. So we're here, breaking this, coming around, boom, chopping block. Okay, and you can see my own head is still quite high at this point. So now from here, I want to keep this bottom hook cupped, really tight C cup, and I can push on his elbow. So I slide this up, push on the elbow. Now I drop my forehead to the mat all the way over here. And I don't have to lock my hands or anything here. I'm using my neck and my ear to push on his bicep. Okay, so it's just here to here. Now, what I want to do is dismount. And I dismount like reverse, like neon belly, basically. Turn. So I'm here, chopping block, here. You guys see my bring this out. And then now other side, 180. Are you guys still with me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I can't tell if my phone died again or something. Super quiet. Okay, so we're filling his posture. Creepy crawling. Up. Chopping block. While doing this, comes into his hip, just like neon belly. Okay. Questions so far, guys? Nope, everyone's good? Okay. So now, turn head facing the camera again. My shoulders is on his chin at this point, and I could squeeze myself out. I'm not going to tap him out unless he's a pussy. So maybe.
audio's gone if you're talking.
Say what?
Oh, I don't know if you were talking, but your audio went silent.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I think my microphone was stuck in Rawson's face.
Mhm.
Okay. So what I was saying here is that my shoulder is on his mouth right now. My shoulder is on his face. And this is what I do is drop my forehead with that. So maybe I'll have to try it on whatever. But well, this does
Is it me
my
or
shoulder.
can you hear him?
Say what? Sorry, can you still not hear me? Okay.
We're
In and
losing
out.
the audio every time you go down.
Hold on. Let me see if I can. How's this? Can you guys hear me?
Great.
That's
Okay,
all.
perfect. Okay. So I'm up on his face with my shoulder. I want to take my forehead to the mat, and my shoulder pulls down into his chest. Okay, and I put my forehead on the mat like the Muslim at prayer, just next to his shoulder. Okay, this feels a lot better for Rawson, right, Rawson?
Much.
Yeah. So this feels like it's been loose. I'm not happy for this to happen. Okay. Now I want to make a half circle and bring my forehead touching Rawson's head. Okay, now my shoulder is underneath his chin, and I can go ahead and finish this choke. I can do this one-handed here, just by flexing my bicep. Okay, and that was not even a full squeeze. So without him on me, what I did is bring my shoulder's up high, I bring my forehead down, and it drops my shoulder close to the mat here. And now I slide my head up and keep my shoulder low to the mat. So my shoulder's high, I bring it down, I cinch it up. Okay? You guys see that? Is that clear?
Yeah, so you don't even have to get into a side control. You just leave that knee on belly while you're finishing.
Knee on belly is way better because you can prevent him from following you. So I much prefer to stay the knee on belly, or really, you know, how we do it, shin across hips. I think that's a much more powerful position. In side control, he will be able to follow me. So the reason people come out to side control is to get their hips low, but you actually don't need your hips low, you need your shoulder low in order to finish this. So most of the time, the problem you'll have is that your shoulder will be on their face, and the way to take it down is just like I showed you. Bring this back. Okay, now it's closer to the mat, and then I slide it up under his chest.
Is this going to require some shoulder flexibility?
I don't think so. I've taught this quite a few times, and people seem to generally be able to do it to each other without any sort of special attributes. But I mean, I don't know why the fuck you're asking, Will. If it requires flexibility, you'll be able to do it. Okay.
Just
Over
for
here,
people in general.
coming up. Whoop. Over here. All right, get him to here. My shoulder's on his face. He doesn't like this, but he's not going to tap to this. Okay, and I dismount into knee on belly. Now my forehead comes down. Okay, and the pressure kind of comes off of him. He's happy about this. But now, so my head should come towards you guys, also towards Rawson. Okay. And I'm showing it here without locking my hands. So for the last little bit, bring my head down. I just secure my hands right here, and I pull with my right hand here. I pull my left across him, and I get head to head here. And that's the arm triangle. So It's funny, a lot of people consider this a goon move, and this is probably one of the most in-depth techniques I've taught. I think the arm triangle has a lot of room for improvement. Very few people do it really well. To talk about side control, if I take my knee off of his belly to here, now he can scoot his hips towards me. And so I can keep driving my head towards him, but his hips follow me the whole time. You guys hear me, by the way?
Yep.
Yeah, you're all good.
Okay, great. So you see how his hips follow me? So if I bring my chin up, now he can't follow me anymore. Follow me, Rawson?
Where exactly is your knee placement? Is it on the left side of his abdomen or is it like belly button?
My knee is off on his hip. And let's face feet this way, Rawson. Line up with the camera. So, yeah, perfect. Okay, so handstand. That's where my knee is. And this, by the way, this is where I want to be in knee on belly too. And this is good for MMA. Okay, I'm using my toes. Turn up just a little bit. My toes here are helping control his hip movement. If I go knee to belly button, his hips are actually free. This is a little more painful, but move your hips, Rawson. He can,
Oh
he can
yeah,
get out.
because you're not controlling them on either side.
Exactly. So I prefer in general, knee on belly, I do a shin across the hips. This is way harder for him to shrimp and move. It's harder for him to grab my foot and to put me back in half guard. Everything's harder here. So that's the control I prefer. And in this arm triangle, this lets me push. I can flex my quad to kick against him to prevent him from following me. So when I'm here, I'll lower it. Now I'm flexing my quad to prevent him from following me. Cool? So that's the arm triangle. So let's do it again from the beginning, and I'll take the mic off so I can do it sort of fully. We'll do it here. He's got temple square, good for him. Boom. Scoops the head. Secured his armpit here. Head comes over, and I'm still quite high. I dismount. Boom. Now, I could squeeze all day here. There's nothing here. I've got to drop my head to the mat. So that's my arm triangle. Questions?
Yeah, actually, so you were saying that it's not like the highest percentage move, correct?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, I thought, then I completely misunderstood what you were saying. Never mind.
When did I say not?
He said it was a goon move.
Yeah, you said it was a goon move, and I thought.
Oh, no. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean it's not effective. So
yeah.
People perceive it as a goon move. It has a broad perception in the jiu-jitsu community and in MMA as something of a goon move. But I just spent, 20 minutes talking about this. This is an extremely technical move. If you try to goon this with your shoulder on his face, you'll never get anything. And you have to really learn here how to work your shoulder off of his face and then under his throat, under his chin. No, I don't think it's a good move at all. I think it's a very technical move. And when I'm doing it right, I'm not squeezing very much at all. Just like everything else.
Marcelo Garcia does this move all the time.
Yeah, so
and Gordon Ryan just beat Tex Johnson a couple months back with this. He put on a clinic with the mount and then got this move multiple times.
Yeah, but he's not very good. No, okay, yeah. So I think the arm triangle is a great move. Brandon, any other details that I've missed?
No, that was good actually. This is one of my favorite moves in general. I don't always finish with it because it is really a very technical move, but it's one of the safest positions that you can get to because you can't get hit and there's not a lot of counters to it. So I really like this one. And I really like that little neon belly detail that you did.
Yeah, so right here. So the keys for me are dropping the shoulder off of his face under his chin here, sliding that in, and then pushing away, pushing his hips away from you so he can't follow you as you cinch it up. Those are the two little details that a lot of people miss, I think. And yeah, as like Brandon says, if this move fails, it's usually just because the guy toughed it out. He had his chin at just the right angle and managed to survive. And then you're still in mount or in side control. Like you don't get swept from this into, I don't know, bottom side control or something. And it may take some strength for you to hold it, but it's a whole hell of a lot worse for this guy being stuck here. He's really having to drive this arm across to keep this. So like Brandon says, totally a safe move, a great move to attack, and it'll make him a hell of a lot more tired than it'll make you.
Can this guy post? Sorry, this guy like post off here?
Yeah, there are a couple of defenses to it. I'm not going to talk about the defense to this today, because I hate defense. Answering the phone is a start. Driving with this arm to help create space. Those are the main ideas that you work with. And yeah, bridging if you can and following with your hips. But okay. So holy shit, I just talked about the arm triangle for 30 minutes. That's impressive. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. I do want to talk about hand fighting from the top. So if he's here, this is the hardest position, I think, to hand fight from. If he's going home alone, this is a little easier. And if he's hip bumping, I think this is the easiest position to hand fight from, okay? And I don't want to say that the hip bump or the mermaid is a bad defense. I think it works pretty well, but you are open to the hand fighting here. So I'm skydiving here, and he goes slow dance on me. He puts his hands here, okay? What I want to do is just pick a side. I want to post. I open that hip, so that hip just comes up a little bit or back, and then I scoop the hand off like that. Okay, but I don't just scoop it, I catch it, and then pin it to the mat and turn my grip over. Okay, so again, we're here, I'm in my skydive, he's slow dancing. I post, open that hip, scoop, turn that over, and put my weight on this hand. You can see how my chest came from over his head to somewhere in between here, okay? And now here's where I can start attacking Kimura, or if he brings it up to his head, I catch the wrist and attack the Americana here, okay? But in general, I just want to talk about this, you know, stripping the hands off. So you can do it both. Generally, if you're postured up here, you can't get as much leverage. He's already bumping you, and you're kind of fucked. But if you're in the skydive, and you can also take the head again, strip that, turn it over, plant it to the mat. Okay, now here, often what happens, if your chest is low, the guy can't get his arm in to help this arm out. If your chest is high, his arm can come across. Go ahead and try to like help this hand. Here's where we take an arm bar. But if the chest is low, he's gonna end up turning in, and his bicep will end up somewhere in my armpit. Go ahead and turn into me. Here. So this is called the Gangsta Lean. I'm gonna slide my left knee. Turn. My left knee comes up towards his head. Okay, so I'm here and here. Okay, now I'm trapping that arm. Okay, I have a few options here. The easiest one will be a triangle. Turn back. Come this way a little bit. Okay, so skydiving, I stripped his hand and nailed it here. He's turning into me. I slide my knee up here. Okay, I keep this pinned, And now this is an easy triangle. I'll just step this over his bicep, scoop that head, and here I am. Okay, and I'm already on the right side here. This is the choking leg. It's already across his face. Just make sure here that you don't leave your hips back. Okay, put your humps right in his face. Okay, make jujitsu weird. Okay, and then you can finish just by pulling this across and cinching it here, or you can roll to your back. Triangles are pretty hard for me to hit on Rawson, so I won't belabor the triangle details. But that gangster lean is a very secure position.
Yeah, that sucked.
Okay, if you get this arm trapped, and if his other arm's off the mat at all, you slide up to it. Okay, and now I can also grip. This is called a butcher half in wrestling. I can put the butcher in, cupping his armpit. My left hand cupping his armpit. So if you hear me yell out butcher, that's what I mean. Okay, now this is a really secure buck around. Okay, right, this butcher is helping kill his bridge also. You see how that lifts his head off the mat. Right, now from here, it's going to the triangle is just a matter of getting your hips up and into them. Okay, so my hips were back, just bring your hips up as you step that triangle in. Again, I won't go over the triangle details. Questions about the gangster lean?
Yes, question.
Yeah.
If you go into gangster lean, but he keeps his left hand on your hip, like you can't extend it, can you still, or what would you do to try to get into that triangle?
I would scoop his head, so back down, Ross.
Which way?
Same, head forward. So that like head scoop I showed here, that really helps kill his leverage here. And you can slide that knee up. So hands on the hips here. So we're here, keep that hand down, Rawson. So if I scoop his head, I can crawl that knee up more easily and crawl it up until I can put the butcher in.
If you can't string that his left arm, should you still go into the gangster lean? Like if he keeps that arm you're holding on your hip?
Yeah, no, then there's nothing. So if he's here and I can't get this off, I have nothing.
Even if you want to hook or get that knee under his other arm? Like if he gets it out.
If this knee, okay, so if I just slide this up, no, I think here, keep this. I think here he's gonna shrimp away from me and just push off my hip and come out. So my weight's gonna come out from under him. Go ahead, Rawson. That way. I don't feel very strong keeping that there.
I can roll you that way too.
You can't roll me because my hand's free, but you will shrimp out from under me.
So holding on to that arm is like, it's essential. If you want to get into the gangster lean.
In general, it's a great idea to trap a hand here. If you can take something like that, even as a start, you know, this taking one of his hands, this is like most of his defense. You know, it's very, very, very hard to escape now if your hand is trapped. So even if I've got this trap and he's got his arm across my hips rather than around, now I'm attacking my arm bars. So now I crawl my hips up, bring my knee to his head, and now I'm in an arm bar position. Deep hook, scoop the leg, sit back to spiderweb.
All right, I have a dumb question.
Yeah.
So would you ever use the gangster lean to set up just the arm triangle because you already have one arm out and one arm can't defend really?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So go ahead, Rawson, back down. He asked if I could do an arm triangle off of this. So yeah, if I'm in here and sliding up to here, maybe I put that butcher in, I can now walk this over to here and go right into the arm triangle. Definitely. So those are our attacks. We got the Americanas and Kimuras, the arm triangle, the regular triangle, and the arm bar. Those are the main things from that, plus the Ezekiel. But it's going to be, you can't do any of those things if his hands are framing on you really well. Okay, so on this, you know, I showed how you can kill it here. This is a good idea in general, just scooping this head sideways. Now you can underhook that more easily. You could also scoop the head here and take this. This isn't going to be a gangster lean now. If he keeps his hand framing across your hips, again, we have to slide up and put in an arm bar. To get the arm bar, I'm sliding my knee up to his head. So we're here, my knee comes up to his head, he pinches. I turn my hips, put in that deep hook, reach for your pocket, cup the leg over the face, leg curls, cross your feet. Nice spider web here. And again, I won't go over finishes of the arm bar today, but the spider web is the position we want to get in. That's where we can put him in danger and keep him in danger.
For the gangster lean, what is your right leg doing? Is it posting away from his hips, or is that still tucked under his leg?
Yeah, so back down. So on the gangster lean, after I've stripped his hand here, boom. Now, as this knee slides up, my right foot, turn. My right foot is helping me drive up into him. So I'm here. So that's pushing. It's not still back there. It's up here pushing to help trap his arm. And then when I'm ready, bring this hand down, step over it, hips forward for the triangle. Okay, so now.
Hey, Amir.
Yeah.
Can you, like, when you're doing that underjack, cousin it, can you use that to also help you get into the gangster lean? Like if you're trying to go for the arm triangle, and then you want to switch because they're either you're not being able to get to it.
Yeah, I tend not to do that. So you're saying here, and then sliding up maybe to here,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, I could see that path. I can't speak to using it myself, but these moves are all interrelated. You know, you're still basically a mount with all these. It's just a question of, are his hands in? Is one out? Are both out? They both in. You know, those are really the only differences in all of these situations. But yes, you can go under jack or cousin it to the gangster lean.
Okay, thank you.
What was the next thing? What am I going to do next? Forgot it. Let me consult my list.
Heel hook from mount.
Heel hook from mount. Is that Fifi trying to pretend to be V? Oh, the monoplata. Yes. This I go to if, you're back, Rawson, if the guy comes out of the gangster lean, and if he manages now to sneak this back in and say on my hip or something, and I lose that control. So now there's no going for a triangle off of this, right? You guys see, like I can't sneak it over without him blocking me. Okay, so if I'm here in gangster lean and I lose this, he repummels it, and he's on my hip. Right, so what I'm gonna go for here is I'm gonna clear the head and go for the go-go or the monoplata. Right, so the first thing I wanna do is now walk my whole body this way and bring my foot up onto the mat. So I was on my knee in the gangster lean, I come up to my foot. Right, now I keep walking my foot up towards his head. I lean back into it, and now I put my frame across his face and clear it until I'm sitting in, this is like a kung fu from the top, okay? So to finish a monoplata from here, I lean back on his arm, and I can lift up on his elbow To finish a go-go, I lean forward onto his head. Put my weight in him. Okay, let's see that again. So I'm here. I strip this. Gangsta Lean. He gets his arm back. Boom. I want to step this foot up. Okay, and I want to keep him, something I forgot to mention, I want to keep him from just sliding out that way. So I have my hands posted behind his shoulders so he can't push, just like try to walk that way, Rawson. It's hard for him to do that. Okay, if my hands aren't there, if I'm here, he just pushes out and he slides out from under me. Get back this way. Here, he gets it back. I step up, blocking his shoulders here. And now, frame off of the face, Kung Fu, sit back onto my hip, and lean on his arm. This will be the Monoplata. I go right under his elbow, lean on it, and pull up. Okay, for the Gogoplata, I don't fall back. I just sit up onto his head.
Is your right leg doing anything important there, or is it just sitting up across his chest?
Yeah, so just like rubber guard, I am gluing it to his chest. Great question, B. Thanks. So I definitely want to glue that right leg to his chest. So we're here. He's on my hip. I'm in a half Gangsta Lean here. I stand this up, block his shoulders. Now clear the head. Kung Fu. My right knee slides up just under his chin and it's pinching. So I'm connecting my knee to my heel here, pinching that in. If this is loose, now he can turn into me pretty easily and pull this arm out. I've got a pinch here tight. Again, I lean on it and pull up for the mono, or I can sit on his head for the go-go.
Cool, thanks.
More questions? Do we need to see that one again?
Hey, Amir, can you go for that Kimura setup, like what Boogie taught at his seminar, when you bring that leg up before you go for the mono?
Yeah, that's still there. It's the exact same position. He asked about a Kimura. So, yeah, so I'm here. I step this up to here. That's still there, for sure. You just have to make sure, it's a good idea to get your knee pinning the other arm before you go to the Kimura. I forget exactly what Boogie showed. But yeah, that Kimura is there, for sure. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Cool, other questions? Okay, so the last thing I wanted to show, the 10th planet staple, was if he turns in and grabs traps an ankle, basically he's escape mount, he's in 3/4 mount, then we just go to samurai. Okay, so if Rawson, turn this way. If Rawson turns into me and manages to push like my foot down and just trap my foot with his legs, no, other way, turn towards me. There it is. And now grab the foot. There. Hey, this is becoming less common. In general, people aren't using 3/4 mount or quarter guard because of honey hole setups. But this is an immediate samurai roll. Okay, if a guy ever turns into you in mount and grabs one foot with his legs, we're samurai. So turn. Okay, so he's here. What I need to do is get my hips down onto his thigh. Okay, I want to make sure to pin him facing one direction. So I was here, I sat on his thigh, I put in the lockdown, So scoop and then around. Again, scoop to there. And then on the roll, just like all of our samurai rolls, make sure you bring this far shoulder below his butt. Okay, the lower you get this shoulder, the easier it'll be. If you try to roll up here, you're not going anywhere. So I want to reach both hands to his far foot, and that makes this roll easy. Catch the toes in the middle. Okay, and here we are in the truck. We can, of course, go into the twist or the back as needed. Those are always interchangeable. But, you know, I want you guys to be cognizant that come mount on me, rough. If a guy at any point just traps a foot like this, then you have a samurai. All right, so the hips just come back, turn, face that way. Why is Rawson struggling here, guys?
He's not reaching for the far foot.
He's not reaching for the far foot. Both hands reach for the far foot, Rawson. Get the shoulder below me.
And he needs lock in his lockdown.
Triangle. There you go. Gotta take that blue belt back.
Kick to freedom.
So again, Rawson. So the key movement, turn, head that way. And go ahead and trap this foot, turn to that side. So the key movement off of this, guys, is that I have to slide my hips back. Okay, so my hips are now centered over his belly. I've got to slide onto his thighs. Okay, that's what sets up the roll. Okay, so again, from here, up high, boom, to the hips, right here, boom.
So as you're pinning that leg, when you shift your hips back, is there a chance for him to sweep you before you initiate that roll?
I'm not worried about getting swept, no. I'm only worried about him shrimping out. So back down, awesome. So with just a foot trapped, Karen, go ahead and grab the foot here. He doesn't really, there's not a sweep here. If anything, I'm kind of close to his back. He'll have to be framing off here. But I'm not worried about a sweep. What I'm worried about is he'll switch his hips back the other way and shrimp out. And now we're in a neutral position. So as soon as he turns this way, I follow him and sit back. Let's move back to the center, Rawson. I don't know if you can see all that. I can't see any of this. So we're here, he grabs the foot. So, I'm worried about that shrimp. So as soon as he turns this way, I sit on the hips. And now here, you ask, can he sweep me from here, B? Is this what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worried about a sweep here. I'm only worried about him escaping. If he manages to get this knee up, now we're in Z guard. So there's not a danger of a sweep here. Just here. So just like sitting on his thigh, I'm safe here. And if I ever find myself here for any reason, I'm just samurai rolling. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. All right, guys, anything else? So what is it? Yeah, 10 till 9. Been going for about an hour here. Certainly a lot more technique than I normally teach during a regular class. I think that's good. The only other thing I had on my list at all was the monkey mount. I think we'll skip that for today. Anything about anything? Life, COVID-19, exponential growth.
What's your take on the May 1st delay for things getting back to normal?
It's optimistic. We'll see. So right now, the number of deaths, the deaths are still going up, but the number of new deaths each day is decreasing a little bit, not too much. We've still got about a 15% growth rate on deaths daily. The reason that that is happening is because most of our deaths are in New York, primarily, then Cali, and then Washington. And those places went into lockdown weeks ago, so their serious lockdown measures have had an effect. The rest of us are still, like Utah, for example, our deaths are still increasing at the same rate that they have been the whole time, about 25% per day. So we don't see in Utah an end or a change in the curvature yet. So May 1st is a little optimistic, but it's possible. We'll see how that goes. Other questions? Okay, so I will say, guys, we got to do something awesome for when we open back up again. You know, I'm thinking of a big seminar, or, you know, we definitely got to have a party of some sort. But if you guys have any ideas, something fun to do when we open back up, let me know. Maybe like a 4-hour open mat. Do something like that. So if there's anything you guys want to do to get your jiu-jitsu fix when we open back up, let me know. Okay, if there are no more questions, you know, thanks so much for joining me. Oh, and last week's lesson is on our YouTube page, so you guys can go check that out. And I'll post this one on there, you know, as soon as I'm able to convert it. Cool.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right, guys, one love. 10P for L. And I'll see y'all tomorrow for film study.
All right. See ya.
Thanks, Amir.
All right, and
Thanks.
yeah, if you have any specific matches you want, you know, hit me up on the Facebook page as always.
All right.
I want Amir to teach the Hinduatine.
Yeah, I want Gary to,
You know what? I almost had a Hindu Latine on Brandon one time. It was pretty close. I was shocked by it, but he toughed it out. And didn't blow out my knee this time. Sorry, Boyd, did you say something?
Yeah, Gary Tonin versus Hinato Kanuto. Can we do a match study on that if that hasn't been done already?
Yeah, is that on Flow Grappling?
I think Flow has the rights to all the ADCC matches, and you have a relic.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll happily break that one down.
Yeah,
That could take a while.
Intricate scrambles, and it's close to my weight class, so I'm very interested in it.
Yeah, it's a good match. I'm happy to check that one out. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions like that, hit me on Facebook.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks for class.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Later.
Bye.